This is Tesla's full self-driving beta. I just got access to it yesterday. I'm about to drive home from Town Talk. I'll do my normal backup at the parking lot just because it's still quirky and I'm not sure how well it will work. It's shown where it has issues, but first thing to notice on this is the visualization on the screen is way different. It shows a lot more data, and it's mapping the real world just based off of camera vision. So now that I'm here, I'm going to kick it on, and now my car is taking over driving. There's a lot of settings in the menus that I can adjust, but right now I'm just going to basically see if it'll drive me home with no issues. It's done a couple drives with no major issues, but it's also had lots of major issues. Sometimes it's hard for it to see what's going on when it comes to the road, when there's a lot of shadows and stuff. At night, it runs off headlights with auto headlight brights. Like my car's like making a maneuver right there. It just changed into a lane randomly for no apparent reason. Why I did that, I'm not exactly sure, but let's see. Alrighty, I have a car coming up on me quickly, so I'm going to step on it because that's the issue with this. It's not ready for prime time just yet. I'm going to turn it off real quick because this guy's driving like a maniac. Because that's one thing with autopilot, it is my camera fell over. Alright, so let's see what I can do now. So it's back on autopilot, coming up to the light with this Jeep right here. It knows it needs to turn right. I'm not touching the wheel, both my hands are right here. My car is now taking the right turn, and now we're on Riverside. So far, like, other than, like, I could have let it drive, but I just didn't want to have a guy in a dually riding my ass, so I disengaged autopilot. The visualization shows all sorts of data. It shows the green path of where I'm going, the red lines of the curbs, my lane markers, oncoming traffic. It's now pulling up behind this CRV as usual, like a normal person would. So far it wasn't terribly bad. I mean, that lane change into the middle lane for no apparent reason, it didn't even use its blinker, so there's lots of random aberrant behavior that it will do, but I always have to watch it because you never know exactly what it might do. But I'm hoping I can record this all the way home. I'll take over if needed, as long as the camera doesn't fall over too much. It should be in a good position where it kind of sees everything. Hope it's recording. Pretty sure I hit record. So it's now going on its own. I don't have to tap anything. Just having my car drive itself. The guy in the car next to me was looking at me like, what's going on? The car did a little bit of a sudden jerk right there. I gotta keep my hand back on the wheel because I hate it when it does things like that. So right now it's just driving normally. Like a slight jerk over there. We got a guy turning left here, so that's going to slow down. My car's kind of slowing down here. These guys turning right, so we'll see if it does this effectively. Alrighty, now it's going through the intersection. It's following its lanes as it usually should. So far, so good for most of this. I want it to get in the left lane, so I'm gonna tell it to turn left. Because I could let it drive around the cars, but I just would rather have it kind of be on its own. So I've seen some issues last time when I was driving. I guess maybe I was driving towards the sun, so it could have been having more issues. Like right now, it's not really doing anything. Always got to watch for that blue flashing light, that's the autopilot, like, you better be paying attention or I'll turn myself off. And with the early access to full self-driving beta, they will remove you from it if you don't follow along. So right now, let's see how it does. It's starting to see, it's kind of guessing where the road should be. Now it knows where the lane is, so it's pulling up. Doing your normal drive. I'm disengaging it because it was kind of heading right. Turn it back on. So, I mean, it's pure vision, and these lane markers are kind of hard to see. So, now it wants to turn into the right lane, so I will let it. Now it's just right in the middle of the lane. No biggie. So far so good. Fix my camera again. Sorry about that. I don't have a good mount for my camera. It's literally just sitting on the chair. So I'm just letting it drive on its own. And don't do anything stupid, car. So got a big truck right next to me. I'm sure it stays in this lane, so I don't want it to do anything. Calling again. Need to see if it can do most of the drive home. I mean, so far it was just that one. Well, yeah, there's been a couple things it's done. So luckily there's not too much traffic on here, but this will be a test of how it gets around traffic also. So there is a car ahead in my lane. It's going to have to maneuver around it. Alrighty. I had to take over there because that was behavior that I don't fully expect to know how to deal with. That truck turning there. So, and that beeping sound is like what happens when autopilot's like, human, do your work. Alrighty, so I turned it off right there. I wasn't sure if it was actually still on. I forgot if I turned it back on after that. Once that I had to steer for that car, but alright. We'll give it to let me take the road home. So now it's getting in the here, like back onto my lane. We got traffic ahead coming. I'm not gonna let it turn if it wants to do it right now. It didn't. It's now waiting. This is like really where it questions how good it is at maneuvering. So that was kind of close cutting it. Now it's going to drive through here where there's a lot of cars, so if there's any weird anomaly, like another car coming or someone getting out, I have to take over really quickly. Luckily nothing major. So I think this will be a pretty good video as a first test case of auto or full self-driving at home, driving home. So I'm just kind of holding my camera here. Alright, just kind of rolling the stop sign. This is also an area where I have to worry about cars coming down quickly, so I'm going to see how it handles this. Now my car did that on its own. Did not see how it was doing that. Alright, I turned my speed down so we can let it cruise the rest of the way home. But otherwise that was pretty solid for what it did. I mean, the car pulling out anomaly and the lane change, like, it's driving itself. We're here. Cars are now driving themselves. Like, one thing about autopilot, it tends to kind of run in the middle of the lane. So I'm turning my speed up. Like, so in the middle of the road, with unmarked roads, it stays center in the lane, and that's not exactly ideal driving behavior. So we'll see if